Hi everyone, welcome to an On the Censors spoiler video. We are going to be spoiling today cards from the new ARH set, Resurgence, with Majo Basil, the famous Majo Basil, and the famous Polyply here.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Welcome back.
Yes, sir.
We have got a funky suite of cards with some great spoilers to show.
Oh yeah.
For Resurgence. Which I believe launches on June the 13th. Is that right, guys?
It does. I believe they're doing a sort of like virtual launch on the 13th, kind of give some feedback. Some of the community has mentioned in the past that give the community a chance to kind of see the cards a little bit before they get officially launched. That way, in case there's anything egregious out there, you know, the playtesters do a great job of really going through everything and trying to think, but they're only certain, you know, there's only a handful of people or a group of people that do it, and so there's some really great minds out there that don't get to play test, so maybe they get to break something that we just did that the playtesters just didn't quite catch. So this will be a chance to do that without, you know, printing broken cards that got to be fixed, you know, right away. So I think it's a great idea. It's a great way that the ARH has taken the feedback of that from the community and is putting it in their hands. So yeah.
So that's June 13th, and the kind of hard launch is June 17th. So everyone, you've got 4 days to break the game.
Yeah.
4
That'll
days
be the release party.
Yeah, and then the release party will be there. Okay, well, let's get on with the show. We have got 4 cards to spoil today, some of which may be in the blue villain aspect. What do we think? Well, let's get us started. Polyfly, do you want to take us through our first card?
So the first card we have today is a blue villain event. It is a 0-cost card called Anger and Power. I like it that it's already 0 cost.
Love the art on this.
Yes, it's very good. It says
very angry.
Deal up to 3 damage to one of your characters, then resolve one of your character or upgrade dice showing a blank as if it were showing melee damage with a value equal to the damage just taken. So do damage to yourself to then, I don't know, finish off an opponent maybe with a blank that out of nowhere.
So Faltering Allegiances is set to rotate.
Correct.
And that's the first time one of ARH's own sets will be rotating out. And with it will go one of my favorite cards, Unending Hate.
Yeah.
So is Anger and Power the new Unending Hate? Is it a 2 auto include in every blue villain deck? I think it might be for me, for my style. Maybe.
Well, you play a lot of Inquisitors, right? You play things where like you like to blank people, or you end up blanking yourself half the time, right? Like blanking is a, you know, soft lock strategy or soft mitigation strategy, especially against blue villain half the time. There's not a ton of multi-die removal, or there's some single die removal, but if you can blank some people, or if you're like me and you just roll blanks all day long, this gives you a way to turn those blanks into something else. But I don't. What was the ceiling on an Unending Hate?
2.
The ceiling
was 2. But you didn't have to smack yourself.
True.
You did need at least 1 blank to be in the pool to maximize it. So I don't know. I mean, I think it fits the theme though, right? It fits the blanks. It fits the self deal damage, sort of like the other card where you can hit yourself to get a resource. So
yeah, Enrage.
Enrage.
Blue villain has a sort of history of this kind of thing. And even villain, I mean, I'm thinking of maybe Best Defense way back, you know, deal 3 damage to yourself to remove
2 dice.
Remove dice. It's like, this is free and you're doing 3 damage. I think it's probably, you might include 2 of it, but you probably only play it once. It's like a game ender.
That's true. But also, I just realized, or just remembering, it's up to 3. So if you only need 1, right? Only one's going to do the job, just do 1, you know?
I think like Duncan said, this is a game ender card. Yeah, you may play 2, but you don't want to see them early for sure. It's a definitely late game card. It's one of those where you're in a race with an opponent and maybe they you know, hasty exit or not hasty exit, I'm sorry, but like I'm stuck on my yellow red, right? Like they come out shooting, do a bunch of action cheats, get their dice out of the pool as fast as possible, and then claim, hoping that maybe you can't do anything, or maybe they sit back and remove some of your dice or flip some of your dice and then hope that they can ambush out and do something else that's, you know, the final turn. and you use this to just kind of be like, okay, that's fine. You do you. You left me with some life. I can smack you in the face and, you know, and be done with it, right? As long as I have one life, I'm fine, right? A chip and a chair is all I need. So maybe.
Yep. And you can take this in shields, right? It doesn't say unblockable.
Yeah.
You don't have to hit yourself for unblockable damage. You could soak it up on some shields.
You could, yeah. You could soak it up on some shields. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a horrible card. I like Duncan, like you said, I think it's a 2 of. But man, you're gonna feel really bad if it's in your opening hand and you mulligan and it's still in your opening hand. Like,
yeah. That's true. I mean, for that reason alone, maybe it is a 1 of. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely going to be a card that probably sees a lot of play initially because, you know, card in hand, 3 damage, like that feels good.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those things where it may taper off, right? Mm-hmm. People may have to play around it initially. Oh, crap, does he have it? Does he have the anger and power?
Right, yeah.
It's a card that will always make you consider, does my opponent have this in their deck, in their hand at this time?
Yeah.
You know, towards the tail end of a game, or like Fight Dirty or one of these kind of cards. You know, you're like, if he hits me with a Fight Dirty now, am I going to lose the game? Do I need to, you know, try and discard from his hand or something to get rid of that kind of bomb? It's quite reminiscent of the early, like lightsaber throw and like force strike. You know, the damage out of hand for blue villain.
Unending Hate. I mean, it evolved into that. Yeah. I don't know how many games I play where it's like, my opponent would activate and they're like, well, if you got it, you got it. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'm sorry. You're dead. It's like,
that has happened to me too many times than I can count.
The old Raylo deck would love this with the shields that you're generating with Ray. You know, the classic Raylo. Like, just give up 3 shields to do 3 melee damage and boom. You know, I would have played this in that deck for sure.
I guess that's a different style of Ataru Strike, right? Like, I'm taking the 3 damage, but I get to do, if it removes shields, who cares? I like the fact that it's character or upgrade dice. I mean, if it was just character dice, this would be so horrible and trash.
That's very relevant. Yeah, that's super relevant. Yeah.
Well, it's resolve one of your character upgrade dice showing a blank.
Right.
So let's move on to our next card that may have a certain synergy with this, with a blue villain dice showing a blank. Majo, do you want to take us through this next card then?
Yeah, let's do it. So we've got Dark Devastation. This is a villain 2-drop, upgrade ability, blue character only, as is the precedent. So we got 2 indirect, 1 discard, 1 money, special blank. So pretty so-so sides. There's no enter the battlefield kind of ability. There's no on-play ability, but the special is quite interesting. So just flat, deal 2 damage to a character. Then you may turn a character or upgrade die to a side showing a blank. So that bit definitely synergizes with this card, right? If they're not able to reroll that die. Well, I guess no, because because you could turn one of your own dice to a blank if you then wanted to, you know, to synergize with anger and power. However, if you manage to sequence your turn properly, you know, or you remove some of their dice before you roll this out, then, you know, if you happen to have more dice in your pool than they do, instead of just turning any die to a blank, you can turn it to any side. So that bit I love, because that means I can turn some Inquisitor specials, you know, Inquisitor dice specials, do some special chaining. You know, I'm already thinking of the Inquisitors. I mean, how can you not?
This is definitely in your wheelhouse, right? This is definitely made for an Inquisitor style deck. Like, that's the point of this card, right? Special chaining into, like, the Inquisitors want to blank their stuff to do more damage. You just talked about Unending Hate, right? Like, you not only do you get to turn dice to do damage to people, but then you get to use those blanks to play, like, the last card, Anger and Power, or turn other dice into other things. Like, this just goes right in line with that style of deck, the whole turning of dice and doing things. So this I think is right up your alley.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit, but as far as you know, 2-drop abilities, which really is the sweet spot for abilities. I mean, there's some really good 3-cost, obviously. There's actually some really good 1-drop abilities, but I think as far as, like, deck slots go, you only have 30.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's going to be some steep competition. Like, you've got Absorb Energy, which has been a huge hit, you know, since it came out. You know, you've got like Devious is a 1-drop, so I don't really put it in the same category. Force Valor is always a classic.
Yep.
Force.
Force
Are you
Valor
playing
gets-
this or Force Valor?
Ooh, that's a good
I'm
question.
playing Force Valor. That's
You playing Force Valor? I mean, Force Valor is probably more consistent, right? And you don't have to sort of tiptoe around your turn. Do they have more dice in their pool, or do I have more dice? You know, so
Well,
I don't know.
I
Though.
think-
I mean, it's a card I'm definitely going to experiment with.
I think you play this with Force Valor, in all honesty. Like, granted, what other 2-drops are you playing in that Inquisitor deck? Or in any blue villain ability deck? Like, what other 2-drops are you playing? Right? You're not really playing any of the trainings, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. You might, but realistically, with Force Valor, you know, its special lets you turn a die to a side not showing a special. So this lets you turn something into a blank to then continue to go off. You get the modal version of, hey, you know, heal and deal, right? I don't know. I would almost play this with Force Valor, maybe not Absorb Energy, even though Absorb Energy is gross and busted and no blanks, but still, I don't know.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but well, yeah. I think you want to really. Maybe I'm playing the game wrong. I've been all these years. I'm probably only really looking for like maybe 1-2 drop at the tail end of a game. I'd be looking for, you know, a sort of mastery and then maybe a lightsaber. I'm like, do I really want to be having two drops to end the game with? I don't know. I think if it had slightly better die sides for me, it would probably hit harder. I don't want to see that discard really too indirect. I'm not really a fan of that. Yeah, it'd be good. Roger will make it work, but I probably couldn't.
I think Dark Devastation's specials, I mean, talking about its die sides, it's got the 2 indirect, which is not great. Near the end of the game, there's only 1 character on your opponent's side. Yeah, it's fine. It's 2 direct damage. But the 2 specials also deal 2 damage apiece. Like, so you've got 50% damage sides already, right? Which is nothing to shake a stick at. Granted, one of them's not great, but it's still, you know, 50% damage sides. But the fact that, in comparison to something like, in my opinion, in comparison to something like Force Valor, this special also gives you some of that modal choices as well, right? You may turn a character upgrade die to a side showing a blank, or if this is early enough in the round, if you're rolling this on a 3-die character, or somebody, the sun comes to mind, you've gotten a 3rd die out on them, like, you're probably going to have more dice in the pool with them, especially because you want to play blue abilities in that deck. Like, I don't know. I think it gives you... It's not as great as I want it to be, I feel, but I think it is some good choice tech in terms of options that you can do with it. I think that's the only thing that maybe making it okay for me.
Just a special chaining, you know. Maybe if you've got 2 of these on a character, you know, you're like, you roll one of them in a special, you then special chain to the other one, and then you special chain to your character dice. Like, maybe it's like you go all or nothing with these Dark Devastations, you know. 2 would be pretty scary coming at you, and then that's as long as one of them rolls one of those specials or focuses to the special, then you're effectively turning both of those special training, you know, into each other, so you're doing 4. But yeah.
Well, 10th Brother is the one wants to do special chaining, right? This slots perfectly into the deck.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's good for blank teching decks, you know. They used to, are still maybe a little bit of a thing. Things that does tech with blanks. It's interesting, but to sum up, I think we've all been spoiled for years by Newman Mastery. Well, we expect a lot from our 2-drop blue abilities, you know. Okay, well, let's move on to our 3rd card, where things begin to get a little bit spicy now. Polyfly, what have you got for us here?
So we have the big bad voodoo daddy himself on an upgrade ability, a 0-cost neutral gray ability called Resilience. This goes on a character that is 18 or more points only, and it says attached character has +1 upgrade limit. Great. It covers itself. You don't have to play this and worry about losing a spot. And then it also gets keyword Resilience. But wait, what does that mean? That means that no more than one of this character's character dice can be removed in the same action. You got that big blue you want to play? You worried about rolling out 3, 4 dice on a character because you spent so much money and resources building up somebody? Yeah, no longer do I have to worry about Headstrong or whatever multi-die removal my opponent has to just wipe out my entire turn. Play this on a big blue or a big anybody, and I get to keep my dice around. So that's neutral.
Play this on
gray.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
On Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Mando.
He needs more buffing.
I think. I think this is just
Sabine,
protection.
let's see,
This is just a protection card, right? This is the feel. Hey, it's felt so bad to get. Oh, do you have it? Okay, game over. Then I can't do anything this round. Thanks. This is just kind of protects against that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. No, I mean if you're investing in a strong character to base your deck around, like a Din Djarin or an Akbar possibly, or Big Daddy Vader or any of these kind of guys. Yeah, exactly. If you're investing a lot in that, it really sucks to get roll out and boom, power of the tribe. There you go, Headstrong. There you go, whatever. You lose. It's protecting your investment. It's like an insurance policy, like you said, which is good. Yeah, Majo, what did you have to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I like this trajectory of. Recently we had the restricted groupings, right? You can't play Headstrong with certain things now. So like sort of going back to this age of, kind of like leveling off the power creep a little bit. And this continues that theme of like just not speeding up the game, but just maybe it is speeding up the game. Not allowing this blowout removal to just be so one-sided. And I like this. This is super cool. I'm curious to see how many characters will sort of maybe naturally come with resilience, and maybe we'll see that.
It's an anti-feel bad card,
Yeah.
You roll out and you get removed, and you go, why did I even bother waking up today? But it's like it takes that away. It's an anti-feel, but it feels like the designer of this card is responding to things in the meta immediately. It might have taken every 3 sets to do this in the past, but it feels like, this is a card that's needed, let's design it. And then that kind of everyone's complaining about multi-die removal, and it's so hard to sort of get where you need to go, and this immediately gives you an option, which is good.
I think this game, specifically what ARH has done by continuing this game and making the cards available to everybody for print and play, or to go have them play online or whatever, this game has a unique issue where there are no chase cards, right? There, unlike a traditional TCGs or whatever, there are chase super rare. Oh my god. And when you go to tournaments, like high-end tournaments, you assume everybody has all of that. But like locals, regional, whatever, like it's rare a lot of the times for people to have those crazy blowout removal cards. This game is different because everybody has them. You have to think about it. You have to think about, does everybody have every card that could hurt me? And I think this is a great way that ARH has done to kind of introduce that, not necessarily a silver bullet, but give that answer. That way you don't have to have that feel bad, because everybody's packing, 2 Headstrong or whatever.
Yeah, it's great. It's good design because it's addressing things that were there. I mean, it's instantly giving you an option. Just one more thing about that with so resilience is a new keyword.
Yeah.
That we've never seen. That might appear on other cards from now on.
Yeah, I don't know what their policy has been in the past about trying to keep. I know with piloting and other abilities and other things that have happened, like how often they want to keep them on sets going forward. But this is the first time we've seen it, so maybe this is one of those that'll stick around for a while. For we'll see.
Yeah, we heard Echo in the DC pod recently, Dice Commando, talk about keywords and what things other than like the classic ones like Guardian.
Sure.
I think piloting also is sort of like an exception. It's sort of just going to be around,
Yeah.
But things like detect,
Right.
and even charm, like those things kind of have like a 3 set shelf life. So you saw,
Okay.
you saw detect sort of taper off, like, I think was faltering. I'm gonna get the order wrong, but like the 4th set, like there really wasn't a ton of detect support. So yeah, I'm not sure yet if resilience would sort of fall into that bucket, or if it's more of a permanent thing, right? Like the new reroll side is sort of here to stay.
Sure.
Well, we'll see. I mean, rather than retrospectively giving characters that needed resilience in the past, retrospectively changing them and saying, okay, this character, Black Chrysanthemum's got resilience now, or like they might have done with piloting. I don't know, did they give some older characters piloting? This card effectively means you don't have to do that, because you can play this on any old character, which, we
Black
love cards
Chrysanthemum he's a great example of someone to play this on, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, the only issue there is now it takes up a deck slot, right? So while it is a wonderful way to make that more manageable, it still takes up a deck slot. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if it sticks around and how much impact it has. It's 18-point characters only. So how many of those do we have? With balance of the force changes and stuff, how many of those are going to be around that need it? And maybe that's the reason why. That's the reason why you do the it in card form, because maybe you're not going to really need it in a couple of sets. Who knows?
So, oh man, you just made me think of something, Paulie. It does take up a deck slot. However, at the same time, it guarantees you get to resolve that die.
Correct. Right.
So that's just I mean, think of like mathematically the value of the expected value of being able to guarantee to resolve at least one of a big dice. That's pretty wild.
Now that you say,
so maybe it's just worth the slot, 100%.
Now that you say that, if it takes up a slot in your deck it doesn't take up an ability, just takes up a slot in your deck, but it takes up 2 cards minimum in your opponent's deck. Because now they have to spend 2 cards to remove both of your character dice, or 3 cards if you have 3 character dice, right? You can't just spend the 1 card to remove them both. So when we talk about, min-maxing, well. Right, and 2 actions, right?
So does this sort of, in some ways, could this discourage people from just stacking their decks with Headstrong, Power of the Tribe, Sanction, like all the 2 cost goodies?
Maybe. I
don't know, or the multi-die removal. So this is, it's going to be a super interesting meta. So anyway, let's move on.
That's good. Let's just say that it does not appear to stack as well. That's a question that we first had, all independently probably. If you have multiple instances of resilience on a character, the brackets for the wording for resilience means no more than one of this character's character dice can be removed in the same action. So you may have 2 on the same character. It doesn't mean you can't remove any of his dice. It just means,
only one.
Yeah,
the same thing.
Time.
So don't play 2 copies of resilience in the same guy.
Yep.
It doesn't work.
And because it's limited to 18 or more points only, you wouldn't be able to have 2 characters that are necessarily 18 points or more. So you wouldn't play it on 2 characters. Yeah. Okay, if only there was a character that could use abilities like this is, and that was 18 points or more. Well, we've got another card to reveal, and this is our final card of the day, which is Alia, the First Witch. I'll talk us through this one. She is Blue Villain, and she is a character who is a Jedi. She's a villain Jedi and a witch as well. 2 powerful keywords. She's 17 points single die and 21 elite. And she has something of a monster of a die with 15 health. So she's going to stick around a while. She's got 3 guns, 3 melee, 3 shields for a damage, a resource, and a special. Team up 1 each other witch. So let's look at some pairings possibly afterwards. It comes with resilience. So you are rolling. When I roll this, I am guaranteed to roll 3 melee and 3 melee. So you are only going to remove 1 of those melees if you play up against me. So watch what you're doing. After you play a curse, you may roll a set aside Night Sister die into your pool. which is a hark back to the Awakenings character, Night Sister, who did quite a lot of damage at Worlds, I believe, that year. The character of Night Sister, with the reroll ability, did a lot of damage. But the die itself, if you play a curse on Alia, the die that you get to roll in will be a 1-gun, 2-gun, a disrupt, a discard, and a resource. So that's not too shabby.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reason to play curses on this character. And if you get that resource, then, you're using it as a moneymaker. If you can play more than 2, that's not a power action, that's an active ability.
Yeah.
So after you play any curse, you may roll a set aside, so you can possibly get 2 or 3, maybe, extra dice into your pool that turn.
Yeah. Man,
so you can see why she's worth a lot. Sorry, Majo, something?
No, I mean, I was just like, she is a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to unpack here. I mean,
you haven't
there's
even.
so much to talk about. There's like team up.
It all yet, and there's more.
Yeah, there's more.
She's got a special. Dealing direct damage to an opponent equal to the total number of curses and blue abilities that you can spot, to a maximum of 5.
Yeah.
No. That's like an entourage type special.
Yeah.
You're you're going to be hitting that for 5 quite early into the game, I would hope.
I mean, it's indirect damage, but 5 indirect damage. Holy crap.
Oh yeah. And and fellas, let's just quickly look at the Night Sister from Awakenings. Awakenings number 12.
Yeah.
She's got a 1-gun, 2-gun, disrupt, discard, money blank. That's a great die. Like, you're pretty happy to resolve any of those sides.
Yeah. I mean, that comes out effectively. You pay the cost of the curse, of course, but you're getting that die free. Yeah, I mean, you take any of those. It's like you take any of those sides.
Majo,
take
how many 0-cost curses are there?
Oh,
there's only, I'm looking at them right now. We only have 1 in current standard format. I would venture to guess there will be a couple more.
Auto included.
Weak Mind. There's Weak Mind that costs 0. That's a great card. That curse comes with a die.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of focus size. You can only use them on your opponent's dice. And then there are 3 1-drops, and then there's just a 2. There's 1 2-cost.
So hold on a minute. So you're meaning to tell me, I play Weak Mind on my opponent's, I don't know, Din Djarin, right? And not only do I get a die from Weak Mind to manipulate their dice, but I also get a Night Sister die straight off the bat, just rolled right in, that I could then possibly resolve for money to have 3 to then play more stuff.
That do appear to be the case.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah, dude.
I love this. The first 2 cards we had today, I was kind of lukewarm on. I really liked Resilience, but I love Alia, and I am going to play Alia.
Yep.
It just makes you want to get back. It's one of these cards that just makes you want to get back into, like playing an archetype. I want to play witches.
Yes.
I want to do that. I mean, let's look at some of the other curses that you can play, because maybe these haven't been played so much. I guess, I don't know. Certainly not in my radar. I mean, you could play the Haunted for 1, which is when your character is defeated. When the downgrade character is defeated, you get a Night Sister zombie to your team, which will give you an extra 5 health, and it will mean that after you activate that character, you may spot another witch to deal damage to a character that has a curse on them. So you're beginning to really stack up all of the, little pings of damage here and things like that. So I think the Haunted would be a great one. I really like Influence, which is 1 cost again, spot a witch, and exhaust this downgrade to force an opponent to either remove an attached character's character die or have you gain 1 resource. So how great is that? That resource, you're getting a Night Sister die and a resource, or a removal just for the cost of 1 curse, which of course stays on the opponent's character, until it's killed. So it's a repeating thing. It's great. And then the other thing to say with this, it's also blue abilities for the special.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, hey,
So-
that's her Dark Jedi
Yeah.
coming out, you know, because you're gonna be playing some abilities on her, so that's pretty yeah. So I mean, you could very quickly get out some curses, right? The 0 cost, the 1 cost curses, and then obviously maybe even some 1 drops or 2 drops on her. Like by the end of round 2, you could get pretty darn close to maxing out that special.
Yeah.
5 indirect. Yeah, man, like you said, Duncan, like she's like an archetype in and of herself. I mean, she's just a build around character. You
Yeah.
get to look at other witches to pair her with their team up. You get to look at blue abilities, blue curses. You know, you get to roll set aside dice. That's always fun.
And she's got a spicy die, you know, like 3
Yeah.
sides. Look at that. 3 shields, which I guess ties into anger and power, which we talked about earlier. Deal 3 damage to one of your characters.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, resolve your three dice, your 3 shields for a damage, and then play anger and power, and then you've got an extra bit of popping
Yeah.
going on.
So let's see. As far as witches that are currently in standard,
Dude.
Mhm.
we have Marin, who is set to rotate out at this point. She's from Faltering Allegiances, but otherwise we have Asajj,
Yep.
a Mother Talzin from Legacies Mother Talzin, who's
Yeah.
on the reprint list
She's on the
currently.
reprint list, yeah.
Is that from Legacies?
Yeah, it's from Legacy.
What is that? Okay. And then we have
Yeah.
the new Mother Talzin, and then we have the Night Sister Acolyte. So,
Yeah, I mean,
you know, the Night Sister.
I
let's see.
think you're playing Alia at Elite.
right.
At
Yeah.
Elite, so
And-
that you get your big dice. So which cost 10 or less?
So
I
you
guess.
could play a double
Right.
die. You could play Elite Night Sister Acolyte because that's 10. You only get 8 health though. You could play a single die Asajj. She's got a pretty cool power action. Spend 1 resource or spot another witch to roll a weapon die on this character in your pool. I don't know that you're playing a lot of weapons though, because she wants curses. Alia wants curses and abilities. I don't know.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah, I
play,
mean-
you could play single Talzin and not worry about the team up.
Right.
At 9 health for 9 points. That might include you might be able to include a plot in there with that at that point, right? Does that work that way? I don't think it works that way actually.
Hey, editor Polyfly here. Just listen to me right now. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to team up. Go do your own research. Go out to the ARH webpage and go pull the rules reference and learn about team up. I'll put a little snippet on the screen for what it says in the rule reference, but I haven't done team up in so long because usually I play yellow and red that doesn't have a lot of team up. I mean, there's Han that does, but I've never played the team up version of that. So my apologize for the confusion. I was confused. I don't want to make you guys confused. Go out and do your own looking. Back to the show.
It might.
Um,
It might actually.
yeah.
I think it makes Talzin. Well, it makes her 20 and her 1 point plot maybe.
Yep. I don't
So-
know. Like, Duncan, you're saying you definitely play Alia Elite, but I don't know. I mean, maybe just to fit some more health into your deck, and because you do get that set aside die, it's an after effect, right? So you could potentially have multiple
Mm-hmm.
OG Night Sister dice in your pool, and that kind of makes up for Alia being single. I don't know.
So you could
Yeah,
play. I mean,
Because if you run Alia non-elite, then you effectively have, you know, if you have 2 other characters with you, you sort of almost have like 15 extra points to work with.
dude,
Right?
You
Just
could
team up,
play.
yeah.
You could play. You could play Alia non-elite at 17 and team up 1 each other witch, right? So you
Yep.
essentially have 16 points if you go witch. You could run 2 single die Night Sister Acolytes, which gives an extra 16 health. And those each
Right, because they each effectively become a 7.
Right. So now you still have 2 points that you could use. 1 point.
Wait, is that
1
math
point.
right?
I don't know. The math is hard. It hurts my
Team
head.
up is each other
Other
witch.
witch.
Yeah, each
So
other witch.
not Alia herself. So
Right.
you would be at 17. You're looking at playing 30, so 15 points worth of characters.
13 points.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did it backwards. Yeah, because I was thinking you could play 2 8 health 8 point Night Sister Acolytes, but that wouldn't work that way. Because that's 14 points.
Yeah.
Not 13 points. Never mind.
Well, you could. I don't know. You can get 15 points of extra witches with Alia, so you could get 7.
Yeah, where I screwed up was I said you have 16 points. You don't. You have 14 points. She ends up thinking you think about her as a 16-point character.
Yeah.
I mean, if Marin doesn't rotate out, if for some reason she goes to the Echoes list, like that's a 14, and that lets you bring any well, I guess it's neutral, but so
yeah. Well, Marin
but
lets you bring the set aside Night Sister zombie.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
And
so many
the exhaust power action. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good. Let me give you a little lesson here. So, from my extensive Star Wars knowledge, in case anyone doesn't know who Alia is, let me just check the notes that you guys told me earlier. Yeah, okay, sorry, here we go. And in my extensive knowledge of Star Wars lore, I can tell you that Alia is kind of the mother of Dathomirians. Is that right? Would you say that, Polyfly?
I don't know that she's the mother of Dathomirians. I know that she was exiled to Dathomir by the Jedi Council. They kind of gave up on her.
Oh, right.
And she was the first ones to basically teach the Force or ways of the Force to the Dathomirians, which eventually led to them breaking up into witch clans.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that fabled the Book of Law that she wrote?
Yes, she did. She wrote the Book of Law, which basically slammed the Jedi Order in the face, which is why the Night Sisters don't really respect or like the Jedi at all. If you've ever seen any interactions with them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
She was also in the courtship of Princess Leia, which I remember from like decades ago as one of the original like expanded universe books from way back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, I guess.
She's a part of OG Legends, but she's also canon as well, official Disney canon, because she was in 59th issue of a 2016 magazine.
Yeah.
So there you go. Star Wars Build the Millennium Falcon. Yeah.
It's a Star Wars deep cut, which is good. I guess it's kind of obviously a lot deeper, but it's like Thrawn when Disney I guess brought Thrawn back for Rebels, and now Thrawn's going to be in the new TV shows and stuff, and maybe this will happen with Alia. Maybe she'll be
Jedi
get a resurgence.
Jedi out Survivor and stuff like Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order dealt a lot with Dathomir and Marin, right? That's kind of where Marin came from in terms of like newer media, right? And so maybe this is kind of playing on some of that Dathomir backstory a little bit. I don't know. The guys over at ARH Echo, those guys, they were really good with all the theming and the lore and stuff. So I'm sure there's some super deep cuts in there that we do not even know about.
So there's one more very important thing that we have not covered yet about this card.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you spot it?
She got resilience.
No.
Oh, we talked about that.
Oh, okay. She got resilience. There you go.
Who's the artist on this one?
I can't see.
Echo 3 Clubs.
Echo 3.
Echo 3 is
he
the
did
artist.
The art. This isn't original art. This is not sourced art.
Yeah.
This is not a still. This is original.
Original artwork.
I love it. I just love this sort of like.
Kind of spooky, yeah.
It is. It's sort of got these like horror themes. Man, I love that. Look at that.
It's who knows what lies beneath that cape? Who knows?
In the inky black. Of the shroud.
Yeah.
Good stuff,
good.
man.
Yeah,
this is like our second or third spoiler season where we get all the awesome blue villain stuff.
Yeah. We're very lucky. If only we had a ARH admin here to thank for that.
Hey, not me. Echo 3, he hooks it up.
Okay. Well, thanks for hooking us up, Echo. We are excited about this set. I am looking forward to playing Alia. I may end up playing Alia at Gen Con. Who knows? I think I may have a Destiny event in June in the UK, in London, that I'm hoping to go to. So maybe I'll give her a spin out there if the cards get printed in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, between Alia or dusting off the old Inquisitors with the Dark Devastation, there's lots of goodies.
Yeah.
So,
It's good. I liked Zam Westel as well. I thought that was a great card, but was spoiled.
Yeah.
Looking
Just
good. Okay.
just the Andor theme in general, right? Plus a sprinkling of other media,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars media. It's gonna be a super fun set.
It's always exciting.
Yeah.
So
That's
Cool,
good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up then. It has been good to be back as you guys doing another spoiler video. I guess. Stay tuned for hopefully an episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which will be coming soon. We're in discussion and starting to look at cards for that.
Yep.
And getting back on the Destiny content train.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we will stay on the lookout for new spoilers. And see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Take care, everybody.